ഹലോ, ഞാൻ നിങ്ങളുടെ സജീവ്. ലോകത്തിലെ എല്ലാ രാഷ്ട്രങ്ങളും കൊറോണ വൈറസിനെ ജാഗ്രതയോടെ നേരിട്ടപ്പോൾ അമേരിക്കയുടെ പ്രസിഡന്റ് ട്രംപ് അടക്കമുള്ള രാഷ്ട്രീയ പ്രവർത്തകർ അമേരിക്കയുടെ സ്റ്റോക്ക് മാർക്കറ്റിനെ പറ്റി സംസാരിച്ചുകൊണ്ടിരുന്നു. ട്രംപിന്റെ ഈ ജാഗ്രത കുറവ് അമേരിക്കയെ ഒരു നാശത്തിലേക്ക് നയിക്കപ്പെടുന്നു. അമേരിക്കയിലെ പ്രശസ്തനായ മനഃശാസ്ത്രജ്ഞൻ ലാൻസ് ഡോട്സ് ട്രംപിന്റെ ജാഗ്രത കുറവിനെ പൊളിച്ചെടുക്കുന്നു. മലയാളം ഇംഗ്ലീഷ് സബ്ടൈറ്റിലൂടെ കാണുന്ന ഈ വീഡിയോ നിങ്ങൾ സശ്രദ്ധം കാണുക, ഷെയർ ചെയ്യുക. താങ്ക് യു വെരി മച്ച്.
Time for tonight's last word. The coronavirus crisis is going to get worse for Donald Trump. Even though the president will probably stay physically healthy throughout the crisis, his mental health could decline each day of the crisis. Some mental health professionals, like our next guest, believe that the president's mental health has been and will continue to be in decline. The incompetence of Donald Trump and his administration is on dramatic and dangerous display every day now. The president demonstrated in last night's press conference that he has no idea how to deal with the coronavirus crisis. He demonstrated a complete lack of comprehension of the dimensions of the crisis. He contradicted public health experts before and after they spoke as if he didn't hear a word that they said. And he made it very clear that he cares much, much more about the health of the stock market than the health of human beings.
I really think the stock market is something I know a lot about. I think it took a hit maybe for two reasons. I think they look at the people that you watched debating last night and they say if there's even a possibility that can happen. I think it really takes a hit because of that. And it certainly took a hit because of this. And I understand that also because of supply chains and various other things and people coming in. But I think the stock market will recover.
He thinks the stock market will recover. And of course, the stock market continued record losses today, dropping nearly 1,200 points. It's the biggest one-day point decline in history the day after Donald Trump says, I think the stock market will recover. Joining us now is Dr. Dodes, a former assistant clinical professor of psychiatry at Harvard Medical School. Dr. Dodes is a contributor to the best-selling book, The Dangerous Case of Donald Trump. 37 psychiatrists and mental health experts assess a president. Dr. Dodes, what do you think you were watching last night when the president participated in that press conference where we went from a president who seems to know nothing about what's going on, worried about the stock market, to public health experts explaining things that the president then immediately contradicted?
Well, I think that what was on display is what we really ought to have already known. And as you pointed out, Lawrence, this man is about himself. He really is not about the country. He's not about public health. And although he has already severely damaged the country by being a psychopath or sociopath, in many ways he's damaged democracy. I think people's lives will be lost now. Individual lives will be lost because of the way he's mishandling the coronavirus issue. So, as you pointed out, he lies. He has contradicted his own health officials. And in a very dangerous move, he's apparently muzzled them so that they now can't speak out. If you listen to the interview, just listening to the way he presented it, I think about a dozen times he said what a wonderful job he has done. It's hard to imagine any other president in the United States history, when addressing the country during a public health crisis, talking about what a wonderful job he personally has done. But this is where he's at. This is what he cares about. He cares about the stock market also because it reflects on him and his candidacy. Bringing in the Democratic debate is completely irrelevant and also incorrect because the market had fallen before the debate. But again, it tells you where his mind is at. His mind is on him. And we've known that. And that he's a pathological liar, we've known that. In a way, what's fascinating in a terrible kind of way is that everyone doesn't get this. Most of America sees him contradict the public health officials, and they say this man must be incompetent. But what he does is what was made famous as the big lie technique in Germany, is by repeating what he wants you to hear over and over again, against the statements that were just made in opposition to it, the act of repeating it makes people think it must be true. It may not make sense, but that's how it works. So he is an extremely successful con man, as we know. His whole life is about that. So I think that explains why people can watch this, watch him deny what his own officials just said, watch him lie about things, and say he must be doing the right thing. He must be looking after us. That's why he's a successful con man. What has to happen if we're going to all survive is that this reaches a tipping point. And eventually the fact that the emperor has no clothes is revealed. And then everyone will understand that he's been lying all along. We haven't reached that yet, unfortunately.
There was a striking moment last night where Dr. Fauci had to kind of grab the microphone to basically say that Donald Trump was wrong when he just said we will have a vaccine rapidly. I just want to show some of what Dr. Fauci said, because what interests me this time, since we all heard what he said, is watching Donald Trump doing whatever it is he's doing, but it sure doesn't look like listening.
I told you we would have a vaccine that we would be putting into trials to see if it's safe and if it induces a response that you would predict would be protective in about 3 months. I think it's going to be a little bit less than that. It's probably going to be closer to 2 months. That would then take about 3 months to determine if it's safe and immunogenic, which gives us 6 months. Then you graduate from a trial, which is phase 1 of 45 people, to a trial that involves hundreds, if not low thousands of people.
Dr. Fauci went on for a couple of minutes there, and as I was watching Donald Trump, my guess was he wasn't comprehending a word.
I think he didn't care.
Yeah.
I think he hears what's in his head, and the rest doesn't matter. And to your original point, Lawrence, yes, he's getting worse. The more things go badly for him, the more paranoid he becomes, the more out of touch with reality, and the more bad decisions he's going to make, the more desperate he's going to be to hold on to what he needs in his power.
Dr. Lance Dodes gets tonight's last word. Thank you, Dr. Dodes, for joining us once again. Really appreciate it.